is always in the media, on the media, and elsewhere, right? So I think, you know, one of the things that we need to do as human beings or Muslims is that rather than complaining all the time, although complaining sometimes is important, is really important. You know, someone said something on the media, BBC and stuff. There's a complaint procedure that you have to complain, right? Sometimes complaining is part of the action. But there are others who just moan and complain all the time. Even if there's no issues to complain about, they'll always moan and complain. What they're trying to do, what they're doing actually, is they're moaning and complaining about their own lives, right? The lack of self-esteem, the problem that they have. So when they're complaining about others, they actually are upset about themselves, you know, their failures and their problems and their own self-esteem issues and their own problems, psychological problems, right? Because sometimes, you know, as a counselor, I look at you know clients, I look at people and say, okay, I've been abused. I say, oh, abuse. I said, abuse. You know, if you've been abused, that's haram. That's wrong. Yeah. And by the way, when someone comes to you and says they've been abused, you can't say, okay, what do you mean by abuse? And but you have to report it. Yeah, you have to report it, especially if it's physical abuse. You have to report it. That goes without saying. But when I'm framing the discussion, not with the client, not with someone who comes to generally academically, talking about academic thing, right? You know, how do we define things? How do we know things? Yeah, my experience is one thing. My experience is subjective, right? My experience, your experience is subjective. Doesn't mean it's wrong. It doesn't mean it doesn't happen, but it could mean, I'm not talking about abuse, I'm about generally, right? It could mean that the experience that I'm having, right? It could be because of certain misunderstanding that I have, cognitive distortions, right? So, you know, in psychology, they have this concept, right? Cognitive distortions that they, you know, there's confusion. And what the therapist will do, try to think. Obviously, when it comes to like abuse, clear cut, right? This is clear cut. You can't, there's no ifs or buts. There's no like, you can't say, you know, what do you mean? How, you know, did you really get abused? That's the worst. And, you know, just be patient, right? This is the worst thing that you can say to someone who's been abused. Islamically is wrong, legally is wrong. It's moral in every way is wrong. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about how we perceive things, right? So a lot of people when they complain, right, when they complain about that organization, when they complain about that person and that person, you know, they have to ask, yeah, they have to ask themselves, am I really is there a like is there reasonable grounds to complain? Have I done everything else to change, right? And I'll give you one example, right? That you know this remind you know comes to mind. You know, one of the contentious issues among Muslims in our day and age is that whether should you allow women to come to the mosque or not, right? Alhamdulillah, Iman Center, women not only are participating in the mosque activities, but they're in the leadership and doing stuff, right? Not only that they pray in the same hall, you know, as the men. So for Iman Center, that's not an issue, but for other mosques, there's an issue. And I don't want to go into the theological fiqh discussions, and you know, there are differences of opinion among the scholars. But unfortunately, there are certain institutions and certain people who discriminate against women, and that is wrong and that is haram. You know, and that's something that we have to kind of fight against. And but the you know, we don't want the sisters or the brothers to go to the other extreme. I remember someone saying that there's a group of sisters, they want to establish a mosque. Fine, great, why not, right? And they established a committee, and they wanted, you know, some brothers, including me, to be advisors. I said, okay, that's fine, good, but why don't you allow brothers to be part of your committee? They said, no, 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 we want only one sisters. I'm like, hang on a minute, you are complaining, right, about most committees who are only, you know, male dominated, only men, right? And they're not giving you space. But yeah, you have, alhamdulillah, you've done great work. You want to establish something, right? But yeah, you're doing the same thing as the men are doing. How does that make sense? Right? How does that make sense? If you're going to complain, right? If you're going to complain about the action of those men, the mosque committees, yeah, and you have an opportunity to change things, do something better, right? All the men will say, well, look at these women. They only wanted power. They didn't want access. They only wanted power. It's all about power and rivalry about them. But you see my point? So, if you want to affect change, you have to understand how change works, right? You have to understand how different dynamics work, right? So simply just complaining is not going to, it's not going to do anything, right? But here's a prime example, right? That you have opportunity here to have both brothers and sisters in the committee, but they said no, we're going to bar brothers. So I said, my response to them is that then you are no better than the people you are complaining about. Then you are being a hypocrite. Yeah, you're being a hypocrite and two-faced. You shouldn't complain about them because the male dominated. You're doing the same thing. Right? So this battle of the sexes that unfortunately is a liberal understanding, right? Not Islamic. Islam has no issue with that. Some Muslims have issues, the misunderstanding about Islam. Islam has no issue. Islam is clear on that. And I can give you many, many other examples. So it's not about having necessarily access all the time for everyone. It's about, okay, I want to be the power broker. I want to be the power broker, right? Men are saying they want to be the power broker. Now women are saying they want to be the power broker. This is a clash. This is a problem, right? And you will always have that. And if there's an institution, right, that's been established for 30, 40 years, and there are culturally biased men, right? Not all places, some places who've established, they give it, this institution for 30, 40 years with their time, with the hard and money. Now someone go and starts complaining that you're doing this right, you're not doing this right. They're gonna listen to you. They're gonna listen to you. They're gonna say, who the hell are you? Right? If I were to go and complain, right? Always complain about the government, Boris Johnson, go to him in a meeting, always complain. They're gonna listen to me. If you want to, you have to win people over. Yes, there are some people you can't, some people you can't engage. We get it. There are some people you can't engage, right? But majority of people are not like that. If I come and attack you, if I want something from you, but I attack you, right? I attack you, and then I say, can you do this for me? Of course, you will not accept this. So there are people who will complain and complain and complain and complain and complain. It's becoming a habit, complaining. It's becoming a habit of complaining. But the reality, not everyone, among some, unfortunately, is a battle of the sexes, battle of men versus women. And this is very, very, I'll give you one example, brothers and sisters. One example, right? Remember, I'm not against sisters being in leadership position. I mean, I do a khutbah in a mosque where there are brothers and sisters in the same hall. I remember when I first I was speaking to their brother, I said, look, do you have sisters in the committee? So if you have sisters in the committee, alhamdulillah, right? So I'm not against that, but I'm against all this liberal mindset from both brothers and sisters, right? What is your framework? I'll give you one prime example that shows to me that it is not about necessarily this allowing access, is about power politics here. Yeah. And this is a disease that we have in our hearts, the disease that we have in our institutions, right? It's a disease that we have in the hearts of men and also women. Women have been, what you call it, saved from that until recently, right? Men for centuries, they've been engulfing that disease. But unfortunately now you see, and this is a prime example. Again, I don't know I don't want to judge, right? But it just seems that it's a prime example. And there are so many others. And you see some brothers and sisters, they go outside picketing outside the mosque, say, we want change, we want change. The uncle will say, who the hell are you? You want change, right? You don't give anything any time. You don't come and clean the mosque carpet. You don't come and do any voluntary work. You haven't contributed anything. We've, left our family members. We left our family members, in our, ancestral land. We've, worked, £1 for £1 a week, and still we gave back home and we saved and we built mosque. And who the hell are you for you to come and demand and command and dictate to us? See, what people do, they command and dictate and tell people to change. They ain't gonna change like that, especially not from someone who they don't really care about. They're gonna say, who are you? And this is what's happening. Brothers demanding, commanding. You can't. Who are you to command and demand? right? Sisters commanding, demanding. Who are you to command and demand, right? So this is a disease that I've seen we have, unfortunately, among brothers and sisters, and I think it's important that we really realize we don't fall in this. We talk about it, but we don't fall in this in this problem. Yeah, it's a problem among brothers. It's a problem among sisters, right? We don't fall in the disease of this sex battle between male and female. This is un-Islamic, and we don't fall into disease of using a different epistemology, using a liberal, epistemology that is not grounded in Islam. We have our own epistemology. We have our own framework. In other words, we have our frame perspective. We have the Quran and Sunnah and what the scholars have said. Now you want to come. Now you want to come and say, use a different framework to judge Islamic things. It doesn't work like that. It does not work. Change does not come. Sometimes you have to, yes, sometimes you have to go on march and then whatnot and do that, right? But every situation demands, a different action, right? In the mosque, right? Give time. Show them that you're sincere. You want to change the organization, right, for the better, right? And that's the problem again. People want to change it. It's power politics again. But who are you? Right? If you're part of an organization, if you're part of a mosque, there are 10 other people have 10 different opinions. So just because they don't take your opinion, it doesn't mean that they've been bad or they've wronged you. Right? And this is basic psychology people don't understand. That people become, childish about things, immature about things. I work part of different organizations, yeah? Right? Even though sometimes I established an organization, I can't do everything that I want to do because, it's not my organization. Even though I established it, even though I give time to it, but it's not my organization. There are other people that have, we have to consider. وَأَمْرُهُمْ شُورَى بَيْنَهُمْ. Right? I would love to do what I want to do, but I can't because we have to look at other people, what they want. Yeah, it's not dictatorship. And unfortunately, some of the people, they only will obey dictatorship. Yeah, some people, they can't live under democracy. It doesn't work. Like, look at what happened in Egypt. Again, apologies to the Egyptians. Yeah, they couldn't live under democracy because for decades and decades and decades, they didn't understand what democracy was. Suddenly, it came to them, and it took them 1 year to flip. But by the way, I'm not saying that people should live under dictatorship. That's wrong, obviously. I'm just giving an example, right? So I think it's important that if we want to make a positive change, rather than complaining, give your time. If I've built a organization for 20 years, right, and now you think that you want to change it because you think there's something wrong with the blah, 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 that's fine, yeah, because no one is perfect. But show that you're committed, right? Show that you're authentic, right? Don't shout out from the window. Give time, give your money, give your sweat, give your blood. Show that you're authentic. Show that you're not just there for power politics. They just want to take over, like this happened in mosques amongst men. Like one group attacks the other group, they take over and court cases, battles, rubbish. But show that you care for the community. Show that it's not about your personal agenda. Show that you are authentic. Give money to the mosque. Give your time to the mosque, right? Give your heart to the. I'm just saying. I'm just using an example of the mosque, but it can be anything. If you want to change something, you think you can do it better, you can do improve it, right? Socrates, he said, you start if you start with a compliment. If you want to win people over, you start with a compliment, and then you can advise a person, right? What happens is that people just complain and complain and complain and complain. And a lot of the time, not all the time, a lot of the time is about they're complaining about their own insecurities. They're complaining about their own failures. They're complaining about their own psychological issues. They're complaining about their own private life they're going through, the problem that is going through. And they, because of social media, because of WhatsApp and Telegram, and now anything, you can write a blog on it. Now it's an outlet. It's an outlet. So rather than them doing that, should go to counseling. That might help them. And there's a problem of Facebook and social media, right? And there people will be, wallahi, How many people will go to Jahannam because of social media? Meaning what they have said on social media. The Prophet said, it's enough for a man to say a one word that will draw him closer to the hellfire. How many people write on WhatsApp? How many people write on Telegram? How many people write on Instagram? How many people write on Facebook? The thing that they should be writing, they become, they vent. Later on they regret it, but it's been registered in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we live in a dangerous time, brothers and sisters. We have to be really careful, right? So my final kind of advice point is that if you want to change, right, engage, help out, show that you're authentic, show that you care, right? Show empathy, right? Give time. And even if they don't change, right, you don't need to attack people. You don't need to do this. You can go and start sometimes, okay, something doesn't work. Go and establish something else. Show them that you can do better. Show them that this isn't the way to do it. The way they're doing it, show them that you can do better. That you can be balanced, you can be fair. Not like those people that they want to establish a mosque, but they only add sisters in the committee. That's not the way. But show them that you're better than them, right? Show them that you are not doing this for power or money, your personal agenda. Show them you really care about the community. This is what we need: authentic people who care about the ummah, who care about the community, inshallah. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you for listening. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us, inshallah. And here, if you have any comments or questions, I'll take some.
Jazakallah khair, Sheikh. Great reminder as always. While everyone thinks of questions, just want to direct everyone to the chat on the subject of engaging and helping out. If you could please donate to the masjid. Obviously, we've been locked down for a long time now, so any sort of donation that you give will be very beneficial in our running of the mosque. Okay, so Sheikh, I don't see any questions, but let me just, we'll finish off with a dua, and if someone does have a question, please kind of type out ASAP, but just another reminder. So we have a event on Saturday called Sheikh's Break, so please join that. And then obviously Surah Yusuf Tafsir on Sunday, so again, please join that as well. Links will be shared on the WhatsApp groups, so look out for them.
Okay, Jazakallah khair. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you, inshallah. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى ال محمد كما صليت على ابراهيم وعلى ال ابراهيم انك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى ال محمد كما باركت على ابراهيم وعلى ال ابراهيم انك حميد مجيد. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة انك انت الوهاب. ربنا هب لنا من ازواجنا وذرياتنا قرة اعين واجعلنا للمتقين اماما. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. سبحانك ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Until next time, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.